All right, let's start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is The Renaissance was based on white supremacy. And pretty much this is a title that came to me yesterday morning. And I was putting together a lesson based on it, and pretty much, once I had the lesson all put together, I still couldn't, the spirit wasn't on me to do the lesson, even though I had it all ready and prepared. I had to turn this light on, Salaki. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that well, because I had to turn the light on so I could see my notes. But if you can't, then you brothers and few sisters out there, you could type some of these same things in there. You know what? Hold on for 1 second. Give me a moment. Let me try to see if that works. Just bear with me 1 second. Alright, that's better. Alright, so like I said, this is a title that came to me yesterday morning. I was gonna do the lesson yesterday, but Spirit wasn't really on me at the moment, and I didn't understand why. But then Elder Apostle Gabar had sent me a video with Bishop Nathaniel bugging out once again, like always, and then everything started coming together, and I was like, okay, that's the reason why Spirit had me waiting for that, and pretty much the consensus of everybody, which I just finished watching the latest video that Elder Apostle Tar did, and I knew in the spirit that he was gonna, although he had said he wasn't gonna get on it or say anything about it, I knew in the spirit that he would eventually, because I know he's a defender of the gospel, and I know eventually that's the spirit, that zeal would jump on him to do it. And the consensus of everybody is the same thing. Everybody's pissed the fuck off, what's going on, and nobody else is saying nothing except for Great Millstone. But that's all right. Let it be as it may. But this title, like I said, it came to me the other morning. I couldn't really sleep, not last night, but the night before. And pretty much, when the title came to me and I was ready to lay back down, a few precepts came to mind, so I started writing them down. So I got a few precepts on here, wherever else the Spirit leads us to. But what I want to start off with is in the book of 1 Corinthians. All right. Now, as you see the title, the name of the title is The Renaissance is based on white supremacy. And that's exactly what it is. And this is why these devils get so highly upset when the Spirit reveals things to us and we start breaking things down the right way, the way that Esau doesn't want you to break it down. And the reason being is because once they took over the world during the time of the Renaissance period, they pretty much whitewashed the world. You could look that term up. They pretty much took the dark images that were all throughout Europe and painted them with white faces, which is called the Renaissance. All right. And when they did that, they pretty much lied to the world. What that's called, when you deface an image, it's called iconoclasm. Now, icon is image. Clasm means the defacing of this image, And how did they deface the image? By putting up their face, and saying that they were the people, that they're the Most High, that they're Yahweh Shai, so on and so forth. And this is what brought about the problem. but it was all set up in prophecy. So like I said, we're going to go through some precepts, but when you hear vocab, when you hear Dr. James White, the Edomite, when you hear Dr. Quas Brown, when you hear Jesus is the Word, and others speaking and calling themselves apologists, the ones of them that call themselves that, the word apologist simply means defender of the gospel. They are not defenders of the gospel. They are the defenders of the gospel of Esau and white supremacy and the false, breakdown or the other doctrine or the other gospel of teaching that the whole world could be saved, and that is the furthest thing from the truth. And whenever we go into it, they have a problem with it. All right, this is why they never answer questions. They ask a lot of questions. They speak in circles. They filibuster because they're trying to get the attention off of the actual, scriptures and have the person engage them in these senseless, back and forth arguments. All right, which like you've heard Apostle Star bring it out before, it's called straw man argument. That's what they want you to get into. This is what Dr. James White, the Edomite, and Dr. Quas Brown, are good at. Is this this verbal diarrhea called, theological reasoning, with the different terms being thrown back and forth. Well, when we read the scriptures, right, the Lord tells us in 1 Corinthians 3:18, it says, "Let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seemeth to be wise in this world," meaning what? You went to college, you've learned the Bible from these particular colleges, right? That's one aspect of it. "Let him become a fool that he may be wise." Why? Because at the end of the day, we have to learn all over again. We have to, be born again, right? It says, "For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with the Most High." So the wisdom of this world, these degrees and doctorates and all that, that's foolishness with the Most High. "For it is written, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness." All right? And then it goes on to say, "And again the Lord knoweth the thoughts of the wise, that they are vain." All right? "Therefore let no man glory in men, for all things are yours." So let no man glory in men. Because this nonsense that you see out here, this false narrative or this theological Christian, world view that you hear is nothing more than white supremacy. Because that's what the Renaissance is all about. When you understand what the Renaissance was about and when you understand prophecy. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the first precept that I have here, which is in the book of Job. And the book of Job instructs us, right, as to who is in power today. Now, if you can't see this, when we show you these scriptures, these precepts, and break it down for you, then it's not meant for you. You are one of the ones that are blinded. That's all we can say, because you're going to have those that no matter how eloquent you break it down, they're not going to accept it because it's not in them to accept it. Job 9:24 says, "The earth," meaning the whole entire planet, "is given into the hand of the wicked." All right. Now, first question should be is, who is the wicked? Does the Bible identify anyone as being the wicked? Well, first, let's go to the book of Matthew. Right? Let's go to the book of Matthew, the 13th chapter, and the 38th verse. Right? And it says here, it says, "The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom." So who are the children of the kingdom? The Israelites. "But the tares are the children of the wicked one." So who are the tares? The tares are Edomites that look like Israelites. And you could apply this also to fake Israelites. Not all Israel is Israel, but this really applies to Esau that look like Israelites. But in general, Esau is the tare. So, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. So the wicked one, which is who? Satan, right? The spiritual demon Satan has children on the planet Earth. Now we just read in Job 9:24 that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Now, are there any people on the planet Earth that the Bible identifies as being the wicked? Well, let's go to Malachi, the first chapter. And as you read in the second verse, it says, I have loved you, saith the Lord, yet you say, wherein hast thou loved us? This is the Lord speaking to the Israelites. Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Saith the Lord, yea, I love Jacob, and I hated Esau. So Esau are the hated of the Lord, the people of the Most High's curse, and laid his mountain and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. And eventually, in process of time, this land called America, which is the modern day Basra or Edom, is going to be laid waste. And it's going to be given to the dragons of the wilderness, meaning these wild creatures, these unclean animals that are going to be inhabiting the land once known as America, which will be a plain. There will not be a hill, there will not be a mountain, there will not be a pond, there will not be a river. It'll just be a flat plain. And it's going to be set up as a memorial to the wickedness that's being pushed on the world today. Okay? So it says, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, meaning poor, but we will return and build the desolate places. Yeah, and they did build. One thing you can't say is that these Edomites can't build. These devils know about structures. They know how to distinguish between building something upon a mountaintop or on the ground and building something in the water, the different structures and the different things you have to use in order to shore these things up. And nowhere, you got these people talking about that Japheth is the so-called white man. It's because, okay, well, Japheth, that's, the Europeans. No, but the original Europeans were brown-skinned people. Look up the Etruscans, look up the Minoans, look up the Picts, which was a shortened form of calling them the pictorial people, the picture people, and that's what the Romans called them. But all of these people were brown-skinned people when you go and you do the research, all right? But nowhere in the scriptures does it ever say that Japheth builds. Japheth is not a builder, all right? Esau is the ones that are builders, and you see that. When you go back into the history, Herod was sought for by the Romans, who were also Edomites, for his great architecture and the buildings that he would build. The Edomites are the builders of this society. All right? Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, because the Most High is going to eventually throw down all of this madness that these devils have built. It says, and they shall call them who? The Edomites, the border of wickedness. So wherever these devils are, they are the borders of wickedness. They are the wicked. And the scriptures identify them as such. It says, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever, and the Lord hates them forever. He has righteous anger against them forever. This is why after 1,000 years, in captivity, they will be done away with. They will be rounded up and burnt up. And the reason why I say 1,000 years is because the scriptures in the book of Revelation 20 speaks about, a 1,000-year period reign with Yahushua, the elect. And it would make sense that they would suffer for that whole 1,000 years and then be burnt up. But we'll see when the kingdom is established. Now, they've been ruling since the Greeks all the way up until today. There was an interruption in their kingdom for a period of 1,000 years. But roughly they've been ruling for 1,000 years plus. But between the Greeks and the Romans, you could say that was a good 400 years or so, depending on where you set the dates up. And then from the Renaissance until now, it's been about at least another 500 and some change. So you could say they've been ruling for about 1,000 years. The scriptures say that they will pay double for everything that they've done. So the border of wickedness and the people against whom the Lord has indignation forever. So once you identify who the earth is given into the hands of, right? Who the wicked are, and we see that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, and we look today on earth and find out who the people are in power that are running things, controlling things, giving out policies and people following, their laws or whatever the case may be, we see that it's none other than the so-called white man, which are identified in the Bible as the Edomites. Now the word Edom goes back to the Hebrew word Adawam, which means red. It's a different word from Adama. Adama means ground. That is the name of Adam. Adama means ground. It does not mean red. Adawam means red. And the spelling is somewhat similar to Adam, and this is why they play on that, that Adam was red man or whatever the case may be, but he was not. He was a brown-skinned man. And so were all people on the planet Earth. There were different shades of brown. It wasn't until the Lord cursed Cain with the skin disease of leprosy and turned him white. And that's why he said, my sin is more than I can bear. Anyone finding me will kill me. All right? And eventually, once the flood came and the seed of Cain was wiped out, they came back through a baby named Esau, whose name was later changed to Edom. And they had the same skin disease called leprosy in the Bible, that Cain had. All right? If you could accept it, you could accept it. If you can't, then it's not meant for you. You can move right along. They got booty shaking videos. They got that lousy trap music out there. They got all kind of stuff you could go watch, for entertainment. This is not for entertainment. This is deadly serious. All right? This is, something that if you are a part of the elect can save your life. I'll put it to you like that. Now, let's go from there. Let's go to the book of 1 John, chapter 3. All right? Because we've identified who the wicked are. We've identified that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. We've identified that the Edomites are the wicked. And we've identified that Cain was wicked. All right? So when we go to 1 John chapter 3 and 12, it says, not as Cain, who was of that wicked one, because they are of their father the devil, just like you Edomites today are of your father the devil. All right? Not as Cain, who was of that wicked one, who slew his brother, and wherefore slew he him? Because his own works were evil. And if you can't see that these devils that are in power, especially beginning with Amalek, are evil and wicked, that means that you either been blinded by the Lord, paid off, or you got your heads jammed up your ass sideways. Just like the Bishop Nathaniel, that demon. That's Satan right there, all right? And that dude got a real super seductive, proud, arrogant spirit. His hubris is to the goddamn skies. And the Most High is going to humble that dude greatly. He will be humbled. You will see. This guy, he done took it to a new height. Just when you thought these old individuals from the One West School couldn't get any wickeder, you'd be surprised. You thought you seen it all in one individual, or this individual, or that individual. Bishop, I call him Nate. He done took it to a new height of pride. And the Lord's going to humble that dude. You're going to see. So it says, because his own works were evil and his brother's righteous. All right, so Cain is identified as the wicked. Esau is identified as the wicked. All right, and they're both one and the same, if you could receive it. All right. So now let's move on from there. Let's go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 12. All right. And you brothers that have been watching this, you already know what this is about. This is more so for the newer members that may not understand everything that's going on. This is the book of Hebrews 12 and 16. Lest there be any fornicator. All right, a fornicator is an adulterer, whether physical or spiritual. Right, or profane person as who? Esau. The Bible keeps identifying Esau or the Edomites as being the wicked, profane, which the word profane, when you look it up in a common dictionary, a Latin word means outside of the temple. They are the accursed of the Most High. You know, the people of the Most High is cursed, which the Lord will get that. Who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. So now, what we're going to do here is we're going to go to the word fornicator, which should be the word porne or pornos, right? Pornos, which means the man who prostitutes his body to another's lust for hire, right? And that you could have a gigolo, or you could have a mole that sells his, you know, his crack. A male prostitute, right? A man who indulges in unlawful sexual intercourse, a fornicator. Now, when we come down here, right, it says a male prostitute as what? Venal. Now, what does it mean to be venal? Venal is showing or motivated by susceptibility to bribery. And this is the man of sin. This is the man of bribery. He will sell, he'll sell anybody out for money. Because this devil could never have enough. All right? So this can be applied physically as an adulterer or someone who sells their body, or it could be applied to someone spiritually, like Esau. All right? The profane, the scumbag of the earth. All right? So it says a male prostitute as venal, right? Which we just saw what the word venal is. It means someone that's motivated by bribery. All right, then it gives you, let me see, similar, corrupt, that's Esau, bribable, purchasable, you know, because this man is greedy, he can never have enough. Like I said, what does it mean to be venal? Capable of being bought or obtained for money or other valuable consideration. And remember, the scripture said this man can never have enough. So he can't go far, you know, there's no limits to this devil. There's nothing sacred or holy to him. Now, when we go back and we look up the word profane, the word profane is bebelos or bebelos. It says accessible, lawful to be trodden, of places, which is like what? Like the temple, right? Profane, unhallowed, common, public place. So this individual is what? Of men, ungodly. He is the ungodly. They are the ungodly that prosper in the world. And when they took over the world and the world was given into their hands, they could not have images of so-called black people, so you could understand, in place when they have to, you know, when they had to deceive the world into thinking that the Heavenly Father was a so-called white man. And those of you that have been studying, have been watching, you know that the Most High, His Son, the angels, the Israelites are men of color. You know, from a dark brown to a light brown. Okay? So these are the ungodly. All right? They are outside of the temple. There's nothing holy to them. This is why when we read, let's go real quick to Isaiah. Basic building, you know, basic fundamental building block scriptures. Isaiah 26:10. It says, let favor be showed to the wicked. Now let's look up this word favor. Let favor. The word is chanan, which goes into the word grace. To be gracious, show favor, pity, right? Now, how do we know that pity has been showed these devils, even though we know that, you know, they can't receive mercy because they're the devil? Well, let's go real quick to Psalms. This is what you call connecting the dots in the spirit. If you can receive it, beautiful. If you can't, move along. Psalms 50 and 16. Matter of fact, another one came to mind. Let me get that one so I don't forget. All right. Psalms chapter 50, verse 16. But unto the wicked, once again, the devil, Esau, the Most High saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth? So what are the statutes and the covenants of the Most High? The Bible, the scriptures. And how did they do that? How did they take it into their hand, into their mouth? By stating, having the audacity to say that they are Christians, that they are the people of the Most High, that they are holy, you know, and they use the same book called the Bible, you know, to push the false narrative of their form of Christianity on Jake. This is why the Elder Apostle Tara calls it, you know, he calls it plantation Christianity, you know, which is nothing more than a Renaissance Christianity. You know, this is a revamped according to the breakdown or the interpretation of Esau. And that's why the name of the lesson is the Renaissance the Renaissance is based on white supremacy. And that's exactly what it's based on. So the Lord is asking a question to these devils that why are they taking his statutes and his covenant in their mouth? Then it goes on to say, seeing thou hatest instruction and castest my words behind thee, because they never rule out of the same book that they claim to believe in. And that's what makes them hypocrites. That's what makes them the wicked. That's what the Lord said. Why are you taking, you know, my covenants in your mouth? You can't do right. We just read in Isaiah 26 that, you know, let favor be shown to the wicked, which we're going to go back to. Psalms 58:2. Yea, in heart you work wickedness, meaning in the mind. Because the only thing that these devils have in mind is nothing but wickedness. They have no fear of the Most High before them. Let's go real quick to Psalms 36 and and 1. It says the transgression. What is a transgression? The constant breaking of the law. Going against and breaking the law. Right? That's what the Lord said. They shouldn't even take this word even in their mouth. The transgression of the wicked, which is who? Esau, the Edomites. Now, do you have wicked among Israel? Of course. You have among Israel, the Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, you have some that are more wicked than Esau. But still in all, they are the people of the Most High. They still the saints. So it says, the transgression of the wicked, you Edomites, say within my heart, that there is no fear of the Most High before his eyes. This is why you have a devil like Yuval Harari who gets popped in his rear, you know, who's married to a dude, you know, talking about that they can piss the Most High off as much as they want because they have the technology to, you know, to control and manipulate things. In so many words. So they have no fear of the Most High in their heart. That's why it says, Psalms 58:2, yea, in heart you work wickedness, you weigh the violence of your hands in the earth, because it begins with a thought, and then eventually they take that and they put it and they push it upon the earth. The earth right now is filled with with the wine of the fornication of the whore being America, Babylon the Great, and they've pushed that sentiment throughout the whole world gradually. They didn't shove it down people's throats. They pushed it gradually on the world, to where now everything that you watch, whether it's a cartoon, whether it's a sitcom, whether it's one of those seasons, I forget what that's called, when you watch or what you call it, you know, you have a season, you have different episodes, whether it's a movie, whether it's a commercial, whatever it may be, they're pushing that heavier and heavier out there, music-wise, everything. That spirit is out there to where you have these big 350-pound muscle on top of muscle, dudes that talk like bitches, man, holding their ear, oh man, you know? Then you have these big, fat, round, rotund, H to the O to the M to the O, with an S at the end. All right? And then you have the women walking around like they're dudes. Masculine as all hell. It's like, wow, this devil done did a work on the earth. It says the wicked are what? Estranged from the womb. So even before they're born, they are the wicked. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies, because that is the The thing about Esau is he got a blessing, two blessings. His biggest blessing outside of the sword, which the scriptures speak about, is deception. That's one of their greatest blessings outside of the sword is deception. And this is why the world today, to this very day, thinks that these devils, are the Most High, Yahweh Shai, the angels. And that's when you tell the people that, when you read the scriptures, the Heavenly Father is a so-called black man, they get violently upset with you to the point where they want to kill you. How dare you speak about my master like that? It says their poison is like the poison of a serpent, right? Because when a serpent bites you, if it's a venomous serpent, that you don't die right away, but eventually that poison coagulates, the blood, and it paralyzes you to the point where you can't move, and then eventually you die, because the serpent likes to eat its prey alive. It's very rare where they will eat something that's already dead. I'm not saying that they won't. I'm pretty sure they will, but they like to have their prey alive. All right, and then you notice when you throw let's say you throw a rat, right, in a cage with a serpent. The serpent might try to get it at first, but when the rat is jumping, it's scared, right, and the adrenaline is pumping, so it's jumping and moving, trying to get away. And eventually it gets tired. Then that's when the serpent comes in and strikes, and kills it. Now Esau is the same way. They get these, these little childrens, right? And then they scare them to death, and then they, delete them, and then drink, that CHR to the OME from them. With the adrenaline, So these devils are terrible, man. And they have the very nature of a serpent. And when you look up I'm not sure if it's the word devil or Satan in the New Testament, Lord's will, if we get a chance, we'll look it up. It speaks about a sly, sneaky person or something along those lines. So it says their poison is as the poison of a serpent. They are like a deaf adder that stoppeth their ears, because they're not going to listen. No matter how eloquent or how well you can put together, the breakdowns of the scriptures, they're not going to listen. How do we know that? Well, we got vocab. That big fat head serpent. He ain't listening. Dr. Quas Brown. He ain't listening. Dr. James White the Edomite. He ain't listening. They're not going to listen, because this whole world is based upon white supremacy. The teachings that they teach are based off of white supremacy. If they give you an IQ test, it's based upon white supremacy. That's why Jake ain't going to pass those tests, because Jake ain't, that's not how they live. So everything is based on white supremacy, which will not hearken to the voice of charmers. Who are the charmers? The prophets. And they're not going to listen. Charming never so wisely. That's why when you go to the parable of Lazarus and the rich man, when when the rich man died, right, and he told Abraham, to send one of my brothers back, and they'll hear him. What did he say? They have Moses and the prophets. Let them hear them. And they're not going to listen. They're not going to listen to the scriptures. They're not going to listen to the prophets. All right? And it goes on and on. You can read more. But in the interest of time, let's move on. Let's go to let's go back to Isaiah 26:10, and then we can move on from there. So it says, let favor be shown to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. Why? Because it's not in him to learn righteousness. Can a leopard change his spots? Then may ye do good who are accustomed to doing evil. It was already embedded in their DNA, in their spirit, to be the wicked. So it's impossible for something that was created to be the wicked to do right things. In the land of uprightness, which is what? The land of Israel, will he deal unjustly. This is why you have all that madness going on over there in the land of Israel. But these are supposed to be the people of the Most High. They're supposed to be pushing, the principles and the laws, the legislation, and statutes of the Most High. And they're not. Because when you read the Bible and you read and you see what they're doing on the earth and weigh it out, it doesn't add up. Everything that they do is contrary to the scriptures. That's why when they converted, around the 7-something or 800-something AD, under the Khazars, what did they convert to? They didn't convert to the Bible. They converted to Judaism. Judaism is not biblical. Judaism is a total debaucherous. It's contrary to the scriptures. When you read the Tao to the Mud, that is some gross demonic shit. And then when you read that and you look at the nature of these devils and you see the shit that's going on around the world, then you understand. You understand movies like the Voices of Freedom or whatever that movie's called, and other shit that's going on, because that is their nature. This is why they're pushing that madness on the world, because they want, if it is their world right now, they want to feel comfortable living in it. All right? In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly and will not behold the majesty of the Lord, because they will be taken out eventually. They're not going to be in the kingdom of heaven enjoying the kingdom. They're going to be in the kingdom of heaven as slaves. And once they go down, they will never rise again. Affliction will not rise a second time. The kingdom will not be left to others. It's going to be an everlasting kingdom, because this is Yahweh Shai's kingdom. How the fuck the devil is going to somehow sneak around and, you know what? Now it's the time, the Israelites are getting weak again. It's time for us to rule again for 1,000 years. Get the fuck out of here, man. You got some bugged out individuals out there, man, just fucking fried in the brain. That's what the scriptures say. That matter of fact, I'm gonna read that real quick, even though it's off topic. But hey, it's all spiritual. Wrong. 1 Timothy chapter 6 and 10. Just go straight to the point. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. And they don't understand that their judgment is not lingering. The Most High is long suffering. But after a while, he said, you know what? It's time to judge this ninja. You don't want to be in those crosshairs. Now, let's go back to Hebrews chapter 12 and let's read that again. And then from there we could jump to another precept. Excuse me. Because when you put all these scriptures together, everything ties Cain, Esau, as being the wicked. And they are the ones, Esau is the one that's ruling today. That's why it says Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So let's read this again. Hebrews 12 and 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright, because they are the wicked. They are the profane. For you know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was what? Rejected. Just like Cain was rejected. For he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. All right? Now, let's go from there. Let's go to Genesis. We'll get that real quick. Chapter 4, and let's go to verse 6. It says, and the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? Because Cain and Abel, they both brought a sacrifice to the Most High. Abel brought the right sacrifice, which was the animal sacrifice. Cain brought the wrong sacrifice. He brought the Lord some fruit. And he had cattle. That's why it says, that woe to him that have, a male in his flock and vows to the Lord of a wicked thing or something like that. So these devils, they knew. And the law back then was oral. So he knew the right thing to do, but he didn't do it. Why? Because he was programmed to do the wrong thing. If thou doest well, what is doing well? Keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, which the Lord said they could not do. So therefore they should not even take it into their mouth. Shall thou not be accepted? Yes, so if you did the right thing, you would be accepted. And if thou doest not well, meaning you commit sin, go off, sin lieth at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. Yeah, so pretty much Satan rules over Esau right now. They are the sons and the daughters of Esau. I'm sorry, of the spiritual demon Satan. And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother, and slew him. And the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. And now art thou what? Cursed from the earth. And these devils are cursed from the earth. All right, they are the people of the Most High's curse. You're going to get that next, Lord's will. Which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. And you see that happening right now. Even though the descendants of Cain died after the flood, during the flood, they came back as Esau. It says, a fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. What is a fugitive? A fugitive is someone that's fleeing from justice. Anyone else on the planet Earth that does wrong, they get judged. But when Esau does wrong, they don't get judged. Do you know how much wickedness these international banking families, the super rich, have done? And they never did a day in jail. They never had to pay a fine. None of that. So they are fugitives. But you know what? They are fugitives because the Lord is preserving them. He's letting all of that stuff stack up. He's letting that bill pile up to the skies. Because when the Lord judges him, there's going to be no mercy. You shall have judgment without mercy, who have shown no mercy. It says, and a vagabond. What is a vagabond? Someone that a traveler. Pretty much throughout the four corners, of the earth. And they are the vagabonds. They can't stay at home. They're always all over the place. They're in everybody's business all around the world. This is why you have 800 military bases that are known around the world from U.S. And then you have another 200 that are underground that not many people know about. So they have over 1,000, sites, military sites around the world. 800 are known or so, and then the other 200 are underground somewhere. Who knows what the hell goes on up in there. So people don't know the magnitude of the wickedness of these devils. So do you think it's a small thing that they would paint themselves up as the people of the Most High? As the Heavenly Father, as the Heavenly Father's Son, as the angels? Satan is transformed into an angel of light, right? So now, let's go from there. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 34. And I hope, this lesson is making sense to some. And if it's not making sense to others, then hey, it's not meant for you. Isaiah 34:5. This is when the Lord Yahushua comes and brings the destruction upon the earth. It says, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. What does that mean? That means Esau and the nations, because when you read I believe the first verse, let me see. Right, the second verse, for the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. Today you have what? Jets, fighter jets, planes, drones, and all of that. Flying in the where? In the heavens, in the skies. So the Lord said, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. So when Yahushua comes back, he's coming back to take Esau and the nations down off of the skies. But the head of all of that are the Edomites. For my sword shall be bathed in what? In heaven. So the Lord is coming to do battle with these devils. But it's going to be easy work. Easy. He's going to take them out effortlessly. It says, behold, it shall come down upon Idumea Now, Idumea is a Greek way of saying Edom. And why did it say it's going to come upon Idumea, even though he's gathering all the armies of the nations? Because Esau is the head right now. You know, they're the head devil in charge. Instead of the HNIC, they are the HDIC, head devil in charge. And upon the people of what? Of my curse to judgment. So if you could receive it, Cain was cursed, and so was Esau, the Edomites. This is why when he first came out the womb, Isaac said, I shall. Wasted away is he. Name Esau does not mean hairy. It means wasted away is he. When you look it up, it ain't going to tell you that. It's a compound word, Ishashwa. Whenever you see a wa, Hebrew wa at the end of a word, if it's not connected to the word, it means he or him. And then the word Ishash means wasted. Wasted he. But you have to go to the Ben Yehudi and look up in the Hebrew the word Ishash, and it'll break it down for you. So Ishash or Esau means wasted away is he. Why? Because he had no pigment. He didn't have that melanin. You know, he didn't have that brown hue to him. You know, like when the Lord cursed Miriam with leprosy, you know, Aaron said, "Let her not be as one dead." You know, who when they come out the womb don't have any color. You know, because you have, you know, Israelite babies that come out, they don't fully get their color till a little later. But when Esau came out, he came out raw. You know, he came out raw. So the Lord said that the Esau are the people of his curse to judgment. Now, let's go from there to, and this all ties together. Let's go from there to Genesis. This is why when you read Revelation 20, it speaks about the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, because it all ties together. It all ties together. Genesis 3:15. And that, in Revelation 20, is not talking about the spiritual demon Satan. It's talking about his physical counterpart, the Edomites. Genesis 3:15. And I, meaning the Most High, will put enmity between thee and the woman. This is parabolic talk. The Lord is going to put enmity between the seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman. Who is the woman? It's not talking about Eve. Even though the sperm of Adam went into Eve and she had a righteous son named Abel, but this would also come back later as far as, you know, Jacob and Esau were concerned. And between thy seed and her seed, and the nation of Israel is compared to a comely woman, comely and delicate woman. You could go to Jeremiah 6:2 for that. It shall bruise thy head, because Esau, you know, brought down, you know, the Israelites, just like Cain slew Abel back then. And thou shalt bruise his heel, because eventually the Israelites are going to take these devils out of power. And this didn't happen back then. Right? This is happening now. And the first thing, the main thing right now that's bruising Esau's heel is what? Is this truth. You know, and they despise it. You know, they hate it. You know? They hate it. I didn't read the 14th verse, but that's all right. We got the main point. Let's go from there. Let's go back to Job 9:24, because now we can read that again and get a better understanding that we've gone through all these precepts, those of you that hung in there. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So if you can't see that the wicked are the Edomites by now, then I don't know what to tell you. If you can't see that the people that are ruling the earth are so-called white people today, I don't know what to tell you. You know, the international banking families are not, you know, Africans. They're not Israelites. They're not Moabites in different nations. They are the Edomites, so-called white people. And not all so-called white people are Edomites. You have some so-called white-looking people that are Israelites. You have some so-called white-looking people that are Hamites, so-called Africans, so on and so forth. It all depends on who your father is. It says he, meaning the wicked, covereth the faces of the judges thereof. So how did he do that? By putting up his face. If not, where and who is he? So if Esau didn't do that, who did that? Because when you look around the planet Earth, who are people worshiping as the Most High and as Yahushua? A so-called white image. All you got to do is type in God and go to images on Google. Type in so-called Jesus or Christ, which we hate saying those names, you know, and you go to Google Images, and guess what? White people are going to come up. So they put that up there. This is what iconoclasm is all about. You look up the term iconoclasm, it just means the defacing of images. Okay? Now, let's go from there. Let's go to the book of 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, and the 3rd verse. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, meaning what? The destruction of these devils and the kingdom, Yahushua coming back, which is the day of Yahushua, as you read up above. And when the day of Yahushua is what? When he comes back to destroy this man's system, his kingdom, their armies, their militaries, and establish his kingdom on the earth, which is in turn, you know, we're joint heirs with him in his kingdom. Lord's will, we be the elect, but we're joint heirs with him. Except there come a falling away first. And what is that falling away? The falling away first was 70 AD. That had to happen. Because the disciples thought back then that Yahushua was coming back then. But they didn't understand it. They still had a process of time to go through, because the serpent was in power at the time when Yahushua was on the scene. Eventually that serpent would fall and be put under a dark cloud, for lack of better words, a prison sentence of 1,000 years. And Jake would be ruling for that 1,000-year period. And then they would come back into power during the Renaissance, which was the revival of, or the healing of the wound of that beasts that was in power at the time, which was the Roman Empire. And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Right. And this man, Esau, is the man of sin. All you got to do is just look at his record. We know your track record, okay? Inside joke. All you got to do is look at his track record. And he's being revealed now. How is he being revealed? Through the scriptures, through the prophets. You know, going through the history, showing that this devil lied to people, that he took all of the dark images that were all throughout Europe and erased them, or the majority of them anyway, painted his picture over them, threw white paint over some, broke the noses off of others, destroyed others, so that the world can be deceived by him, because that was what was going to happen. This is prophecy, people. It says, who opposeth, what does it mean to oppose? It means to go against, and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High. Who's doing that? These devils. They run the world. They run the world. Then on top of that, it says men of lawlessness. They run the world. They claim to be Christians. They claim to be, this country was established on Judeo-Christian principles. The world is following the lead of America. And what are they following? They're not following the principles of the scriptures. They're following the principles of Esau, which is a debaucherous, profane lifestyle. Has nothing to do with the scriptures. So they oppose and exalt themselves above all that is called the Most High. Matter of fact, let's go to this word oppose. And if you're feeling sleepy or tired, then go to sleep. Go watch another video. Maybe that'll pick you up. Anti-kaimai. Anti-kaimai. To be set over against, opposite to oppose, be adverse to, withstand. So they're withstanding, they're opposite to everything that is called the Most High. What is called the Most High? The scriptures. That's why he said, unto the wicked, the Lord saith, what hast thou to do to take my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth, seeing thou hatest instructions, and castest my words behind thee? Now, let's go back. Who opposes and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, all that is worshipped. Who is worshipped as being the Most High? Being the Son of the Most High. The so-called white man. To this very day, you still have that fucking white image, so-called white image, in all these different churches. When people wear the Jesus piece, right? They have the image of who? Caesar Borgia slash Serapis Christus. They still have that image in them, on them, tattooed on them, pictures of them, stickers on the bumpers and the cars and all of that. The world is still under that glaze of Esau. And he's being worshipped. You don't see the Most High being worshipped as a so-called black man, or as a so-called, his son as a so-called black man. Even though you have some family that have woken up and they have pictures of, Yahweh Shai, But for the most part, the world conception is that the Heavenly Father and his son are so-called white people. They're being worshipped. They oppose and exalt themselves above all that's called the Most High. So that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. You see? That's this devil. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. So the Apostle Paul already told the disciples of his disciples that this was going to happen. But this was going to happen way in the future. And now you know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in this time. Right, certain things had to be withheld because it wasn't time back then. Because he would be revealed in time. It says, for the mystery of iniquity does already work, because the Roman Empire was already in power. But they weren't doing this back then. They weren't setting up themselves as the Most High back then. It says, only he who letteth will let, meaning the Most High, until he be taken out of the way. So what was the first signs of him being taken out of the way? First being revealed, then being destroyed. We're reading about that in Isaiah. The Lord said his sword will be bathed in heaven. Well, we're coming to the point now where the sword of the Lord is going to be bathed in heaven. And then shall that wicked be revealed. What does it mean to be revealed? Pull the veil back. Show what's behind that curtain. Whom the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. What is the spirit of the Most High's mouth? The prophets. And shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, which is what? Yahweh Shai coming with the angels and the chariots, shooting lasers down, and also those missiles, which is the waster to destroy. Then it says what? Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan. That's why it calls him the devil, it calls him Satan, it calls him the dragon, it calls him that old serpent. All, I believe the word is epithets or names for the same person. Aliases for Esau. What are some of Esau's aliases? The dragon, that old serpent called the devil, and Satan. These are all nicknames of Esau. Even him who's coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because he deceived the world. And them that perish, because you still have Israelites that's caught up in that madness, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause the Most High shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie. And that's where they're at. They're caught up in the web of Esau. Now, the last precept we're going to go into real quick is the book of Revelation 20, which, like I said, I was going to do this lesson yesterday. The Spirit was not on me. I didn't know why, but I understand because the Lord would put the Spirit on Elder Apostle Gabar to send me that video with Bishop Nathaniel, that demon, breaking this horribly wrong. I mean, that was the worst breakdown of Revelation 20 that I ever heard in my life. Especially coming from an Israelite. Lord. Revelation 20:1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. The bottomless pit represents Europe. You brothers have to watch, you brothers and few sisters have to watch other videos on this breakdown to get that. And a great chain in his hand. A great chain represents what? Captivity, slavery, restrictions. And what was the restrictions? And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, these are all nicknames for Esau, and bound him 1,000 years, right? And cast him into the bottomless pit, which is Europe, because they were still captives in Europe, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him that he should deceive the nations no more, because that's one of his greatest blessings outside of the sword, deception, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. So what we would have to ask is, what is this talking about? This is talking about history. When you go to, that's just the Byzantine Empire at its peak. How long did the Dark Ages last? Roughly 1,000 years. The medieval era, often called the Middle Ages or the Dark Ages, began around 476 AD, which it really began around 325. You know, with Constantine the First, who introduced or made Christianity the religion of, you know, the Roman Empire. That's how it became the Holy Roman Empire, which really, it wasn't really holy. They just used the tenets of the scriptures, but they were still pagan worshippers. But you did have some devout men back then that were, you know, Israelites. Following the great loss of power throughout Europe by the Roman emperor, right? Because these Roman emperors is talking about Jake Roman emperors. Because during this time, it was Jake ruling. Jake started ruling around 96, 97 AD when Nerva took over. He was the first so-called black emperor. Domitian was the last Edomite emperor. All right? But when Jake took over the Roman Empire back then, they continued on in that pagan Roman style. It says the Middle Ages spanned roughly 1,000 years, ending between 1400 and 1450. You know, it's really, that was like the height of it. But when you do the research, you know, some place the Renaissance beginning around 1350. That's why it says the 1400s. The 1400s began from 1301 to 1400. All right? So 1350 or so it began, but it really didn't get settled, and the teeth didn't really take stronghold until the mid 1400s or so. Because at 1453, the last stronghold of Jake was taken over in the eastern part of the Roman Empire, which was Constantinople, you know, which was later called Istanbul, Turkey. Then when you go into 1492, that's when the Spain, or the Moors, which were Jakes that embraced the religion of Islam, lost their last stronghold of Granada in Spain. All right, Boabdil, I believe his name was. He had another name. You know, so these are all historical facts. You know, and from that point on, the Renaissance was in full bloom. Now, when you go here to this tab, this is Renaissance art movement. All right. Now, I had something else up. I don't know what happened to it. This is when the Great Deception happened. This fucking bullshit right here. This fucking look at this bullshit. You know, this is Renaissance art. You know, this is the whitewashing that they did, the Iconoclasm. You know, and this was pretty much just deception here, because Iconoclasm is really the taking of dark images and painting them white or breaking off their noses. That's iconically the defacing of images. This is just straight up whitewash. You know, just putting up their image. Now, I did have the Byzantine Empire at its peak in 565 AD. And you see they had taken over all of, you know, the areas that were owned at one time by the Roman Empire. But I had another tab up. I don't know what happened to it. Let me see something. Let me see. Now, if I go back, it's not going to allow me to go back. So, you just pull up another tab. All right. And I'll just end it off in a little bit. How long? No. When did the Renaissance start? When did the Renaissance start? 14th century, see? There is some debate over when exactly the Renaissance began. However, it is generally believed that to have begun in Italy during the 14th century after the end of the Middle Ages, and it reached its height there between the 1490s and the 1520s, a period referred to as the High Renaissance. Now, when you put in 14th century, when did the 14th century start? 1301, January 1st, 1301, and ended December 31st, 1400. So the 14th century are the 1300s, and there's some records that start the Renaissance 1350, but it wasn't much going on because they were still, you know, just newly coming in. But by the time the 1400s came in, mid 1400s to the late 1400s, that's when they were in full bloom. All right, and that was the period of time where the serpent, that old serpent, which is the devil, and Satan was cast into the bottomless pit for that. I'm sorry, it was let loose, because it says that that he should deceive the nation no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that he must be loosed a little season. And when we jump to the 7th verse, and when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth. This was during the Renaissance period. And that was the great deception. This bullshit that you see right here. This bullshit that you see right there. The Renaissance. Alright, so the Renaissance is nothing more than, it's based on white supremacy. And you can see it. You can see it's based off of white supremacy. Everything is white. And if you did research on icons and Russian icons, you're going to see dark images that are still out there, because you have to remember, Jake was putting up pictures of himself for over 1,000 years. So it was impossible in that short period of time, you know, in the 1400s, to take all of those images down. That's why they broke the noses off of some, they threw white paint over some, and some stuff is even hidden that we've never seen. You know, the elder Ariala from the Dallas camp and his brother, years ago, they went to Europe. They went to some of these places, and they would not allow them to go into certain places, you know. And you have a lot of dark images, and these devils, right now that the truth is out, these devils have the nerve to say, well, you know, the reason why some of those images are dark is because they're dirty. I mean, the audacity of these devils, my goodness. And it's like, you prove them wrong and they still wiggle. That's why I said they will not listen to the charmers. Charmer never so wisely. They are the deaf adder that stoppeth their ears. There's nothing that you could say or do to change their mind. All right? So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. To the next time I say, Shalom.